not young women, advice to young scientists, people thinking about a career in science. What advice would you give them?
Well, I think not to have too sort of glamorous an image. You know, when somebody gives you, who is enthusiastic, I'm enthusiastic, for example, I really am, comes and is excited about, you know, and then you have something to be excited about, like HM or something, then the combination of an excitable personality with an exciting object, a topic, you could sort of make something sound, what a wonderful thing to be doing, or how interesting. And I think you have to have lots of sobering thoughts about how patient are you by temperament. It's not just working on a bench or working with the whole organism that's the critical thing, because you can do either of those depending on your interest or your talents. It's in any branch of science, there's an awful lot of repetitive work. You're not going to make a new discovery every week or even every 3 months. And you have to be able to take that repetitive work and do it with your attention on it. I mean, because you mustn't do sloppy repetitive work or it's totally useless. And there's a lot of this in science. And if you're going to get bored with that, if you know yourself as somebody who's easily bored, then it's not for you. So that's one thing I would say. The other thing is if you're in a different field and you're suddenly excited by something, as I said yesterday, follow your bent. I mean, don't be afraid to change. I mean, these are young people, and don't be afraid to change if something really appeals to you. As I said, I've seen people go from philosophy to neuroscience, from one field to another. Peter Milner went from electrical engineering to neuroscience. You know, you should follow your bent. If something really appeals to you, you'll have great regrets if you don't. But you do have to know yourself, and you have to know that a lot of science is repetitive work, and you mustn't be sloppy at it, and you mustn't get bored. I don't get bored easily. I think it's very important not to get bored easily.
And to take risks.
To take risks. You think I'm a risk taker, don't you?
Well, I'll ask you again, are you a risk taker?
You see,
I see yourself as a risk taker.
I never had until you pointed it out to me yesterday, I think. I never thought of myself as a risk taker, and then you look through my life. I'm not a risk avoider, but I am a risk avoider fearfully. I would never want to jump out of an airplane on a parachute for the kicks of it, or I'm not frightened of flying in airplanes. I like them, but I don't want to, you know, I don't take physical risks at all. And it never occurred to me that any of the other things I did were risks until our conversation yesterday.
Maybe that's the secret of risk-taking.
I think it may be, and that may be for these physical risks that I'm not prepared to take, you know. I'm sure that comes into it, because we all know people who are, we've all got friends, I'm sure, who just don't like flying. They feel uneasy, they feel frightened, and for most of us this doesn't even cross our minds, you know. You know, it may be a nuisance or it may be nice, but you know, but it doesn't cross our minds really. Even though there are accidents, it doesn't cross our minds. We're aware of the statistics, etc., etc. But there are some people for whom this is something they think about really as a risk, and so that's a temperamental thing, isn't it? I don't know what it comes from.